Alright, so we have our first match here against Dota 627. We have a solid opening hand. Opponent opens with Steam Vents, so it's potential there could be any number of things here. They go for the Otherworldly Gaze. So it's some kind of graveyard-based dredge deck. So looking at this, I choose not to fetch now for the... we go for the Izzet Charm because they miss a land drop, so it's always better to just keep them slower down if we can. They are throwing tons of stuff into their graveyard here, so we're going to sort up the white for next turn if we need it. They hit 3 Tainted Indulgences. They are just looting through their deck with amazing speed, and they drop a Gurmag Angler, so we're immediately vanishing first that, just to slow it down. Tainted Indulgence throws down a Deep Fiend. We've got going for the Niv because they have 1 mana. Now we get a Clophis, and they pull back the Stitcher. So what we're going to do here, we run out, I believe, Clophis as Graveyard Hate, and we go to swing in, but they flash in the Elder Deep Fiend and go for the removal here. But we're going to win this race overall because we have potentially 8 damage a turn. As you see there, we take that out. We exile their Elder Deep Fiend, so Celestial Charm doing some work. We never deploy a hand there. And I believe this is where our opponent scoops because we basically hit them down. Interesting. Is this the end of the replay? Yeah, so basically we hit them here, they don't draw anything, and then we just go off and kill them. So let's see if the game 2 loaded. This is the problem with using these recorded videos. So game 2 we did the swap out to bring in the Keranos, as you see, and we get a solidly huge hand here with tons of land, which we keep. Because we know that we can bring to light for a Clophis, but we naturally draw one. And they go well for the Otherworldly Gazes. So my first goal here, above anything else, is to get down a Clophis. We also hold up a Vanishing Verse in case they can go for a massive play here. Now they don't have blue up, so I choose now to deploy Clophis to keep things safe. Now we have removal here in the form of taking out their Elder Deep Fiend, because I notice that they can loop if they get 2 of them down. So we drop a hero of Precinct 1, and I'm tempted to hold up mana, but I decide it's probably better if I just run out of voice here. As I said before there, they go here, loot and destroy the hero. I'm not too fussed on that. We have a Vanishing Verse to deal with a Jace. And we exile the Arc of Gonus, we exile Jace, and we put the mana down to bring to light next turn. Now, we then exile Otherworldly Gaze has Thing. We'll go to combat to try to bait out a spell before we go for potentially a Bring to Light. They go down to 6. In the end step, I choose not to do it. I believe I'm just slow burning here. I'm trying to put them in a position where they have to respond. So I attack with both of these. He goes to the block here. I go for the... As always, trying to put it back on top of its library. He chooses to tap off 4 mana, so we use our 4 mana. Now we get to Celestial Charm. He goes for Mystical Dispute. We're already in the block phase though, so we can't block and kill our creatures. We now have a ton of creatures available, and he concedes to that because he's run out of cards. So an interesting Grixis kind of like dredge deck, but yeah, ultimately folded to our interactive ability. He was kind of like traditional dredge. He went all in the graveyard and didn't really hit much of his interaction. Alright, match 2. We reveal the Gigantha. We've got a pretty solid hand here. I keep this on the strength of a Clophis, considering our last card was a graveyard deck, and our opponent hits us with 4 T's and immediately takes out Clophis, which instantly makes me think that they must be some kind of graveyard hate deck. We put out hero to get hit by the thing, and we use Valky to look at their hand, and we see that they are basically a Delirium deck. They are looking to flood out they are basically looking to flood us out here. They hit us for 1. I choose to take it. We don't want to give them back the Ishkana. We want them to be forced to use mana. Right, Sequel's Chariot. We get our land and we cast our Niv. We get a Culling Ritual, which will take out all of his little stuff. He gets, unfortunately, a random discard spell that I didn't know existed here. I choose to go for the Culling Ritual because it takes out everything that he needs for his deck here, and then I go for Bring to Light for 4 colors so that we can cast our second Colossus. And then I hold back because he may have a way to animate the Chariot here with the Ishkana, and I'd rather not take the hit from that. So we just start exiling his graveyard here, buying us time. We attack in because we have the Azorius Charm and the Tyrant's Scorn here to effectively deal with whatever they go for. They traverse the Overworld and grab the Murderous Rider, so I choose to Tyrant Scorn, bounce Niv back to our hands to fade the attack. We're getting hit in here for 5-6. I consider using the Charm here, which I do just to draw a card, because I could put a Seeker's Chariot back on top of their deck, but they'll just get more cats with that. So I decided to just play my land, fire out my Niv, get a solid thing here, and I Vanishing Verse the Ishkana, so that if he wants to attack here, yes he does, he has to use that. I think he has removal, but he has a second Chariot. So we take out the Chariot, we whiff a Bloom Command to drain his health again, and now we can keep our hand. Before we move to combat, I just strike the Chariot so we can't use it. I then Izzet Charm, one of the smaller things, and Selesnya Charm, but it eats, I can't keep up with this. We basically start to grind out the value here because we have our hand, and I go here for, we attack here with Niv-Mizzet, put him down to 3. Now we put Gigantha into hand, and this is where they make a critical error. They gain a life, but then they force these down to 2, forgetting that we have Colossus. They think they're safe here because they've left back a Spider Blocker, but then they realise that Colossus' trigger will just kill them. So with that resolve, let's move to game 2. Game 2, we do the same tricks again. We bring in the additional copy of our we bring in our additional copy of we bring in our Keranos to get around the old what's it called? There goes our hero to random discard. Opponent runs out it's kind of the Endless Webs. So in response, we make a 2/2 with Vigilance. We draw a Vanishing Verse, we're happy to use. We play our land and we attack, they take it. They go to Old Rustskin, who makes a treasure token. Right, on our turn, we go for Niv-Mizzet. And we hit our Keranos here. So this is a beautiful hand here. So what we are going to go for, they have Ishkana, but they do not have Delirium. So first of all, we attack. He chooses not to block because he must know that we have, but could have something, and we run out our Keranos. Alright, now we draw an additional card and we draw a Colossus. So we run out Colossus. So we have now 2 indestructible cards against this deck, which probably doesn't really have a way to deal with them. Alright, he goes for this thing there, which is perfect for us. We then play Edgar, because now if he wants to kill Edgar, he needs double removal. He chooses not to attack and holds back for blocking, but then concedes because he knows that we have the life lead, and Keranos and Clovis are going to go crazy. We can pick apart his graveyard to deactivate Delirium. He's got to trade down for Niv because he doesn't have the spiders, and he knows that we reloaded an absurd amount in our hand. So yeah, pretty fun game. Alright, game here against Showtech. Right, this is basically the Grixis Delver deck, and this matchup was horrendous because our deck decided to completely mess with us in the last two games. So we play, we end up finding black, which is going to be a big problem for us if we don't find it soon. The Ledger Shredder is a great addition to this deck actually. So we just go with making it 2/2, and we then play the Clovis just to score some value. They go for Fiery Impulse, and they cling to Dust to keep us down and hit us with the Ledger Sledger. Now they fully tap out here, which is great for me because I know I have Bring to Light, and I'm going to grab me a Culling Ritual, which will clear this board and give me some sense of inevitability. So we take out the Cling to Dust because it's a good value source for them, and we Bring to Light for the Culling Ritual, and then we use that mana to put our Gigantha into hand. I forgot about the double connive that they get, and he forces us, takes our Niv. This is going to be a huge problem for us as this deck goes on. So what I did there was I targeted my own graveyard because I'm 90% sure this deck will be running Drown in the Lock. So if I can keep my graveyard below 5 cards, it's not going to be an issue. And Clovis still gets her triggered abilities for hitting on that level. Now they go down and draw out as the thing, and we move to game 2. And this game, before it starts, frustrated me to no end because for the next 2 games we see very little removal in our deck, and you guys know how much removal we put in. But we also, particularly in this game, our opponent in the top, I think it's 10 cards, finds all 4 of the Fort Caesars. All 3 of them, I think. Yep, they mill one, they have another one, so they use it. We use Voice here. They use Thing in the Ice. We play Gigantha to hand, pass the turn. They Expressive Iteration and find their next Fort Seize. So they take our Culling Ritual before we have the chance to use it. We need to use this for red mana. Our opponent then draws another Thing in the Ice. And this is right, so then we draw another card here, so we go for Bring to Light for 5. They have counter magic. They get to flip their thing next turn. They now draw Fortsies. They consider. And basically we are just dead here because we drew a land and we needed to basically have interaction. Yeah, so as you see that we did draw interaction, but our opponent was granted all 4 Fort Seizes within the top 10 cards of their library, and they only needed 3 of them even. Onto the game 3. You can tell from my tone that we eventually did sadly lose this set because once again we get a Thing in the Ice game here where we did not manage to find pretty much any removal, and we had to multi Oblivion to find lands, and we were running 26. So literally I had to multi no lands here. Not much to say, it's pretty much a mirror of the last game where they basically went Delver into Thing and just had basically an answer for everything that we wanted to try and do. We go for Fable Passage, so I kill the Delver, We go for Fable Passage because I just want to thin the deck out. I do not want to draw another land. Thinking the ice again. We draw our... Right, so we draw our Bring to Light. They have their Thoughtseize now. So we don't get to use it. Or they have the Disdainful Stroke. They have one or the other. Yep. So we are down now to hoping that we draw something. They still have 5 cards in hand because our mulligan wrecked us. It's always a shame when a good set comes down, like loses to like a mulligan on turn, whatever. So so there's a ton of stuff that could get us out of this. We draw Valky, so we look at the hand. We see a Croaxer. We also see they have Drown in the Lock. There's no. So we were correct in there having Drown in the Lock. But sadly, even our... they draw 3 more cards. We just choose to take this. They can kill it and kill us with the Croaxer. Yeah, we got destroyed by the mulligan, which is always a shame when a fun set can just not happen. Yeah, game 3 was just not a game, sadly. I could have turned him into the Croaxer, but either way we were going to lose because we had 4 lands, drew 2, and they had the Disdainful Stroke. You know, it was what it was. We had pretty much lost after the mulligan. Okay, quick bonus match here. I'm not going to go too much into this because I just wanted to point out this guy's an absolute hero because he's playing one of my favorite decks from back in an old standard past. For those of you who don't know, he is trying to align the Hedrons, and it is awesome. So that'll probably be the end of my commentary here. Overall, I think the deck's doing okay. We did lose, as I say, we lost to the Grixis Delver deck, but that really to me felt like a random variance game. Potentially I have heard the argument I should bring in hand disruption, which is something I'm thinking of perhaps doing, as I say before, adjusting my sideboard more, so that if I run into like control-y things or get decks like that where I might just want to try and take out the what's it called? Try and take out the key pieces out of their hands. But as you can see here, our opponent has the Hedron alignment. And for those of you who don't remember how Hedron alignment works, what you need to do to activate Hedron alignment at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control a card named Hedron alignment on the field, in your hand, in your graveyard, and in exile, you win the game. I can't tell you how many times I tried to do this. Spoiler, he doesn't have great luck doing it here, but I 100% respect this player, Death Mist Angel. He's such a nice man, and we'll show a second game because we're on it. 100%, this guy is my absolute hero for playing this deck. It is one of those like against the odds kind of decks that I just wish was a thing. Yeah, I mean, I get mad when I lose to Lotus Field because I don't like that deck or playing against that deck, but I would never get salty about losing to Hedron alignment. I think I even say in the comments to him in this match, I was like, 100% respect for playing this deck, dude. I would never be mad if I lost to this. Right, we'll just get this going. But all in all, we'll do a little wrap up here while we talk about it. All in all, I felt good about the deck. I do feel I need the full set of Vanishing Verses, and I'm thinking that maybe the land is too much. I might have to go down to 25, I think, would be an acceptable amount. Right, so this is kind of a bad way to say how this feels. He's running Hedron alignment to put two of them on the field because he can get another. He has a way to bring it back, basically. So we drop Niv, we grab everything we need here, and we are going to ultimately end this match with the two cards that Tybalt got us. So in the end step, we abrupt decay the Hedron. We check there's enough. He does have a steal away here. So we're going to go for the attack. He's going to try and seal away, and we will use the spell pierce we stole off him to end this. So sadly, yes, match ended, but full respect to this player. If anyone out there makes a Hedron alignment deck, I will happily lose to you every day of the week.